Hi, my name is Oshin O'Hare, and I'm a musician, and I'm making this video. It's kind of like my public speaking. My dog won't leave me alone now. He was all settled and peaceful just before. He keeps giving me his paw. He's a good boy. What do you want to say to him, Jojo? And yeah, this video is about 2 years old from the context of now. My album, Old from the Context of Now, came out 2 years ago, and I'd just like to speak about it, tell some of the stories behind some of the songs. The first song, the intro, Let's Get Lost. Back in 2022, you couldn't really see how far AI would have come, and it's the only time that I've used AI, and the only time that I ever will use AI. It's the first moment. I used Morgan Freeman voice changer app, and I was doing it, just experimenting with like some friends in the old art class, and it was fun. It was good fun, but now in 2025, the efficacy of that, I would never. No, I can't say I'm ever gonna go down that route again, but hopefully we definitely won't have it for the third album, but maybe for the fourth album we can have a budget, and we can actually get some nice voices on there, but Let's Get Lost, it's a stripped back acoustic song, it was inspired thematically by a song of the same title, a very different genre, very different sound, but Chet Baker, one of my biggest influences, one of my favorite artists of all time, and the end of it is probably the most surprising, strange bit, where I just go off the script. I didn't write anything for the outro, and yeah, Fourth Floor is technically, I always think of it like the first song of the album, because it's the first song where all the instruments come in, and there's a whole bunch to it. I would say it's inspired somewhat so by the Strokes. I love the Strokes, they're another band that I just adore, I've listened to all of their albums, and Fourth Floor, what it actually means, apparently, I've never been or anything, but in China, in the elevators, there is no fourth floor, as 4 is an unlucky number in China, so I just thought that was very interesting, like just the idea of a place that doesn't exist, and to the listener, the place where I was writing the songs, it didn't actually exist, and it's an interesting song. I like it. It's 2 chords, start to end, and then third song we have Here Right Now, which we made a music video, me and a very good friend, Jessica Craig, very talented, and after that she ended up going on all kinds of crazy adventures, the Amazon, and Mexico, Greece, and just lots of love, lots of thanks, for her making that video. Wouldn't have been able to do it without her, and I was very happy with how it turned out, and the song, it's kind of reflecting, about my time in school. It's probably the most political song I've ever released as well, but I would never want to, shove that down anyone's throat, I think that's one of the most ugly things that you can do, and something that's just so common, people that demand that, you think that the way that they think, all that I would ever ask of my audience is that you think for yourself, and any kind of interpretation that you have of my music, it's as valid as my interpretation, and that's what I love about music, and it's something that's quite lost, with a lot of music now that just all sounds the same, it all means the same thing, and the message isn't even hidden or discreet or anything. And yeah, there's a lot of themes in it, virtual living. We now live in a time where, you can live out your entire life in a million different places, and never leave your bed, because we live through our minds, you know. It's like we're losing touch with our reality of being, you know. It's like our physical being, and then the song's just about being in the moment, you know, just going through life and just, you know, doing it the old-fashioned way, you know, with your feet on the street, you know. And that's something I'm at least very good at. I'm a hardcore pedestrian. I'm a big walker, you know. I walk around, and yeah, it's about just that kind of stuff. And then next up, we got song number 4, which is Small Town Blues, which it's another quite personal one. You know, I come from the small town or village. Some people say it's a village. Um, Patrick. It's where St. Patrick's buried. I think that's probably what we're best known for. And it's about the kind of friendships that you come into. Because when you're in these small communities, you know, you really, it feels sometimes like all you really have is the people around you, you know. And I've been blessed and I'm very lucky to have very good friends, you know. And this town, you know, it's abundant with talent, you know. I'm just, no matter what point I'm at in this journey, you know, I've never really, well, you're always kind of alone, but I've never, you know, I've always had people to call upon, you know, if I need to. I've always had, you know, some people down the street. Less so now, because, you know, I'm 20, and, you know, you hit that age and everybody starts going to uni and stuff, and everybody starts, you know, doing stuff with their lives, you know. And, yeah, here I am. And the song changes about halfway through, the key change, and it symbolizes the change in, you know, your outlook. Because at the start of the song, it's all very, you know, oh, small town blues, you know, I'm not happy because I'm in a small town. But then, like, halfway through, you know, it becomes like, you know, I find comfort in it, you know. I find comfort in my small town, you know, the streets that never change too much, you know. And then next up, we got Best Friend, which was written, you know, for you know, a particular person at the time, someone who I still consider my best friend. You know, this guy too. He's a good best friend too. But I would miss you if you weren't around, and now he's not around, and I do miss him. You know, so it was definitely true. Look at this guy. He's standing here looking at me all stoic, as per usual. And yeah, it's a song about love, you know, and just valuing the people around you, you know. And once again, I'm just lucky enough, you know, that I've had an abundance of people, you know, that have so much value in them, you know. And yeah, that's most people, but you know, sometimes you have to look a bit harder with some people than others. And then next up is where the album really changes, and I think it's probably the song that scares the most people from the album, and validly so. You know, it's a pretty spooky song, and it's old from the context of now. The title track, and it's different. You've never heard a song like it, I can tell you that much. To the point where it kind of begs the question: is this a song, you know, or is it 500 songs, you know, playing all at once? You know, it's kind of sounds like that, right? Um, I I just wanted to show how much effort that I've put into this music, you know, and I wanted to show every song that could have been on the album but wasn't, you know, because when when you do this, you know, and when you write so much, you just end up with these pages, you know, and pages and pages and pages, you know, and every single page just has a little bit of you on it, you know. It's like every time you write a song, you know, it's like you leave a bit of yourself on that page, you know. It's like you've pulled it out and now you can see it, you know, and then when you record it, you get to hear it, you know, and it's an amazing process, you know. It's I can't think of anything that it's has been better, you know. Like, it's just one of the best things in the world, you know, and I would recommend for anyone to try it, you know. And a lot of people always say, you know, I'm not talented, I'm not blah blah blah, you know. It's like, what do you find out? You know, you find out, you know. You put the time in, and you'll reap the reward. You know, you get out of it what you put into it. You know, when I studied art, that was one of the first things that we were taught. You know, some people look at a painting and they think, what is this painting bringing to me? But it's about what you bring to the painting. You know, and it's the artist's job to lay themselves out. You know, and then for other people to come along and see themselves in that. You know, because for as different as we seem to be, we're a lot more similar than we are different, and that's, I believe that to be a global thing. I believe that we're all a lot more similar than we are different, no matter where you're from, whether you're from Downpatrick or Belfast or Dublin or, you know, like Afghanistan or America or China, or if you're from, you know, like Kazakhstan or whatever, you know, it's like we're all humans, and we all have that special thing inside of us, you know. There's nothing more valuable than a human life. And yeah. Next up, we have Like the First Time, which, you know, if old from the context now, the song is like getting thrown into the blender, you know, like the first time is like coming out, you know, and it's it's another song. You've never heard a song like it, but it was kind of influenced. I'd a very good friend. I don't know. I don't listen. Friends who watch this, okay? If I ever make another one of these, tell me if I'm allowed to name drop you guys, because like I don't want to. Like, I name drop Jess because, like, you know, we work together. You know, her name is on that project already. It's on the same YouTube channel and stuff. You know, but I was introduced to Slowdive by a great friend, and I let him know, and I think he liked the song. He liked the song. I think the most surprising thing instrumentally would be the two drums. There's two drums on your head. So the whole album, by the way, I probably should have said this earlier, but the whole album you're gonna want to listen to with headphones on. My just my personal advice. You can obviously, you know, not listen to me. You can not listen to me at all if you like. That's fine. But if you wanna listen to me good, you know, you're gonna wanna put some headphones on. But like the first time, the the diehards, you know, the people that really like my music really like this song, and the people who don't really like the craziness, you know, it's like fair enough. But this song's a lot, you know, and it's not only in the production but in the writing. There's a lot in it, you know, and it's about change, influence, love, and friendship, you know, fear and unfamiliarity and youth, and it's, you know when you meet a group of people and you just hit it off so well. You just know, like, just from that day, like, you just know we're going to be friends for a long time. You know, we're going to have great memories. We're going to have great moments, you know. But it's like you feel that on the first day, you know, and then after all these years of, like, all these great memories and like, great moments, and you just think back and, like, I would just love to go back to the start, and I would just love to hang out with you guys again, you know, as 11-year-olds, as we were back then, you know, or whatever age, you know, and I'm sure that's something that you felt in your own life as well, you know, and that's kind of what I want to pursue in my music is it's not just to you know, say what my life is and, you know, what it's like, how I feel, but it's about, you know, transcribing a universal thing through music, and I think Like the First Time does a pretty good job of it. And then up next we have my personal least favorite song on the entire album. I think it's the most fake song I think it's probably that I've ever written. But it was a lot of fun to record, and I had a lot of fun recording it, and it's not the most like ear hurting song or anything. But Space Cowboy Blues, it was inspired by Mass Effect mostly. David Bowie as well, and yeah, I kind of regret it, but it was part of a greater project actually, because at the same time that I wrote this album, Old from the Context Now, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, kind of, I also wrote this space rock album, and the plan was, you know, release this album, get lots of traction, you know, and then get two more albums out, and then do an album, the space rock album with a band called Three Cat, and that's still something that I'm very interested in doing. Something I probably definitely am going to do in the future, you know, which kind of puts it in weird territory, right? Because it's a space rock album, so like it happened in the future, and I'm also going to record it in the future, you know. So yeah, I wrote some notes today because I'm doing this all in one take. I don't want to, you know, take 1,000 pauses and bore you guys like way back then. Next up, it's I got a lot of good feedback from this one as well. People really like it. People like do 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 do. You know, there's like a melody in there. It's the you know, the rhythm guitar plays something, and it's a strange song. Sometimes when you're writing songs, it's like sometimes it's a bit of a grind. You know, it can take like 2 hours, but like sometimes it takes 15 minutes. You know, and this is the second kind of song. You know, and it's about everything that was and is, and how, you know, like everything that was still exists. It's just, you know, we might not be able to see it. You know, it might not be as publicized, or we might be distracted because there's too much going on. You know, but it's just a very interesting song. It's about courage and loneliness. You know, loneliness disappears when you make friends with your fears. You know, it's just interesting, I guess. And up next, probably the most, I don't know if it's the most personal song on the album, but it's yeah, it kind of hits you in the feels, you know. Lost Mary, it's about loss, you know, personal loss, like religious loss, whether that's like in the zeitgeist or, you know, in your own personal life. You know, I'm just speaking to the people from here. You know, I'm sure we were all, nearly all, kind of brought up in environments where there was a lot of religion, whereas when you grow up, you know, it's kind of really lost, you know, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, you know, that's up to you, you know, completely. But it's something to think about. And then another thing to think about, which the song is about, it's about the replacement of that, you know, because everything that you lose, you know, like you always end up having that inside you, you know, it's like that hole, you know, that needs to be filled up. And then what are you going to choose? You know, are you going to choose like cigarettes and alcohol, you know, or, you know, a little vape, you know, because you know, a lot of people go for the vape these days, you know. And you know, I'm not talking to you from up here, you know, or anything. I'm talking to you from down here, you know, keeping it real. But yeah, speaking of keeping it real, the next song is called Manifesting, which as if, you know, wish it was that easy, you know. I would like what am I going to manifest on the internet? More dog treats for Jojo. He's sleeping now. I've talked him to sleep. And yeah, in the song I was just saying exactly what I thought at the time, and yeah, hopefully it comes true. That would be nice, you know, if it all worked out, you know, because you know, you stress about it. It's something you stress about, it not all working out, you know. But I don't plan on quitting, you know. 2 feet in a heartbeat, you know. Don't plan on quitting. And then up next, another kind of favorite one, Dream Girl, and it's probably has one of the most interesting stories about it. When I was 15 or 14 or something, and I was listening to CDs all the time. And one of my favorite CDs, one of the first ones, I bought two to start off with, and it was Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars by David Bowie, and Hesitant Alien by Gerard Way, and just two artists that I absolutely love and adore, you know. And I woke up one night after having this dream where I'd this blonde girl, and she had no face, you know, when I woke up, but she had a face in the dream, but I couldn't remember, you know, and in the dream I was having this like extravagant dinner, you know, with her dad who was deaf or blind. I can't remember which one. But then when I woke up, it was just like heartbreak, just instant heartbreak. I was like, oh, it was so real. I thought that was so real. And now it's all gone, you know. But yeah. And then the song "Drugstore Perfume" by Gerard Way, one of my favorite songs ever to this day, was playing, and it just resonated so deeply, and the moment and that song are just so connected for me, you know. And anytime that I listen to that song, it's like I'm right back there, you know, because the song feels the exact same way that the dream felt, you know, in its melody and just sonically, like all of the effects and everything. It just one of the most beautiful sounding songs ever. And this the song was kind of like the opposite in a way, because if that's the dream, you know, this is the waking up part. So like I didn't want to capture the moment in the dream because I already felt like that had been done by someone else, you know, for me. Gerard Way, you know, God bless him, he's a great man. um Probably I've never met him. I just love his music, I guess, and his taste. But yeah, it's about waking up. And you know, there's some other stuff sprinkled in there, I guess. And then next up we have 333, which is another interesting one because it's the only song that I've ever written that I can't remember writing whatsoever. Because I came back after a long, hard night of drinking lots of stuff. You know, many a Guinness, many a vodka, Red Bull, and bad decisions were made. Yeah, lots of bad decisions were made that night. But it's fine, you know, character development and all that. But when I got home, I wrote the song, I guess, and then what I can remember is I remember waking up and I woke up on top of this book, and let's see if I can find it. Shouldn't be too far. Yeah, it's just like, you know. And I woke up with like my face literally on the book, you know, like. And when I woke up, I was just like, hey, what the hell is this song, you know? And then I looked, and there was chords on it and stuff, which is convenient. And it was written on the piano, which is also very funny because I didn't know how to play the piano at the time. So I was just like, oh, this is all very strange. When I played it, you know, I liked the song a lot, so I decided to keep it, you know. And it's quite different in writing than how it turned out, you know. But I like it, you know. And then next up we have Love is Cheap in the 21st Century. And it's kind of just about a degrading of values, you know, and like the lack of authenticity and realness in today's world. It kind of feels like, you know, we're kind of just oversaturated with a lot of things that are created purely for monetary value, you know, so that people make money off of them, you know. And not only does that starve actual creators who are creating really unique things, you know, like things that are actually of human value, you know, things that are made with the intention of making your life better, you know. But yeah, it's about a whole lot. And when love means everything, you know, that's what you want to aim for, you know, rather than like the opposite, you know, which is love meaning nothing, you know. And we kind of live in a cliche world where, you know, you say that word, you know, it's kind of like a real curse word, you know. The curse words aren't curse words anymore. Words like, you know, love are like the new curse word in a way, you know, because love demands things of you, you know. Love's a demanding word, and it means something objective, you know, objective and universal, which is hard to accept. And it's even harder when you know, you break that, you know. I should have kept the door open for him, but I didn't want anyone interrupting. Okay, we'll speed run this. I've already been yapping for long enough. And then next up we got Valentine's, which was inspired a little bit by Dirty Old Town. If you ever heard it, it's a great song. And it's kind of, you know, when you lie, you know, it's kind of like you kill a bit of reality, especially if you know, actually change someone's mind with a lie. You know, it's like one of the worst things you can do. And it'll really poison the well, you know, it'll poison love, you know. And yeah, it's something you really don't want to do, you know. But I think I was just also very interested by the actual historic event at the time. You know, the Valentine's Day massacre or whatever. I don't know. Sorry about that. And yeah, I'm filming on my iPhone. And then up next we have the last official song of the album, and probably my favorite. I just love how it was recorded. I love how it was put together. The two very last songs that I recorded for this album are the first song, Let's Get Lost, and the last song, which is Small Dreams. And Small Dreams was created because I'd written a song at the very start, and I was like, I had no idea how to finish this song, you know. And then I wrote this song at the end, and I was like, this kind of feels like it needs something at the beginning, so it just, you know, made sense to put them together. And yeah, two very different sounding songs, you know. So putting them together, you know, it kind of should have been unnatural, but it felt very natural, and it sounds very natural if you do listen to it today. And it starts, and it's kind of about waking up, and it's about, you know, like the birth of consciousness in a way, letting go of pretense, you know, and you know, and that might include, you know, things like letting go of the idea that, you know, everything's supposed to be easy, you know, or letting go of the idea that, you know, you're not going to have to work too hard for something, you know, or the idea that you can stay in your comfort zone and, you know, do everything that you want to, because it's not, you can't, you know. And yeah, it's about adventure, fresh starts, and that's what I was pursuing, you know. At the time I was hoping to go to Liverpool and continue studying art, and I couldn't do that because well, I could have, it was within my ability, but music is, you know, everything to me, and I couldn't let go of it, you know. And I do love art. To this day I love art, and I you know, continue, you know, doing my stuff. I sketch a lot. I still journal all the time, although I finished my journal the other day. I might make some posts about it if people are interested. But yeah, fresh starts, and it's about moving up to a city, you know, getting out of the small town and getting into a place where there's just a whole bunch of people, you know, a whole bunch of people that you can interact with and learn from. And for the past 2 years, that's what I've been doing, you know. I've been studying music, and I've been doing it in Belfast, and it's been an amazing experience. My peers amongst my class have all been great, you know. It's all been great just learning from, you know, the students. And then, you know, I've blessed once again with amazing teachers. You know, I'm so lucky to have amazing art teacher when I studied art in Downpatrick, and amazing music teachers studying in Belfast. And yeah, it's just all been going very well. I've been writing so much, and I I don't know exactly what the third project is gonna be, but I know that it's gonna be pretty freaking good, you know. It's gonna be good, you know. I've put so much time into it. I've put so much time into, you know, increasing my production skills, that kind of stuff, my musicality, like my actual music playing. Um, I was confident before, you know, because I can kind of play by ear a little bit and stuff, but now confidence isn't even a because I really have the ability, you know, and I'm just dying to get the chance to prove it. And that's what this album was about at the time. I just wanted to show what I could do at that moment, you know. So it's a bit awkward and inconvenient, you know, like knowing I can really make something that'll blow your socks off, you know. But it's really difficult to, you know, get in that place, you know, because I need, you know, an atmosphere where I can record, you know. Recording 2 albums, I went through 2 laptops and both of them were broke by the time